The Warriors look like the 2010s Warriors right now. At 11-3, they're sitting at the top of the Western Conference standings, proving themselves as a dominant force once again. Their performance has been nothing short of spectacular, whether they're at home, where they boast a 5-1 record, or on the road, where they've gone 6-2. They've also been on fire over their last 10 games, winning 8 of them. It's a consistent level of play that's setting the tone for their season. Unfortunately, they did suffer a tough loss with DeAnthony Melton going down to an ACL injury. Losing a player like him is always difficult, but this team has found a way to keep pushing forward and performing at an elite level. From a statistical standpoint, the Warriors are dominating in almost every category. Let's start with their win percentage, where they're third in the league, trailing only the Celtics and Cavaliers. Their offense has been electric, putting up 119.6 points per game, which also ranks third, again behind the Celtics and Cavaliers. This team knows how to score, and it shows every time they step on the floor. When it comes to shooting, the Warriors have been solid, but there's room for improvement. They're 10th in field goal percentage, which isn't bad, but not elite either. From beyond the arc, though, they've been exceptional, ranking third in both three-pointers made and three-point percentage. Only the Cavaliers and Knicks have been better from deep. However, their free throw shooting has been a glaring weakness. As a team, they're shooting just 64% from the line, which is dead last in the league. Even worse, they hold the unfortunate title of being the worst free throw shooting team in the last 5 years. Steph Curry is doing his part, knocking down an unbelievable 94% of his free throws. But the rest of the team has struggled significantly. It's an area that could come back to bite them in close games if it doesn't improve. Rebounding has been a major strength for this Warriors team. They're fourth in offensive rebounds, second in defensive rebounds, and second overall. That kind of dominance on the glass has been a huge factor in their success. Winning the rebounding battle not only limits opponents' second chance opportunities, but also creates additional possessions for their high-powered offense. Another key to their success has been their exceptional ball movement. The Warriors are first in the league in assists per game and lead in overall assist ratio. This is a team that thrives on unselfish play, constantly moving the ball to find the best shot. Their assist percentage ranks third, further highlighting just how much of their offense comes from team-oriented basketball. It's the kind of style that makes them incredibly difficult to guard because everyone on the floor is a threat. Defensively, the Warriors have been just as impressive. They're second in steals per game, seventh in blocks, and second in defensive rebounding. These numbers speak to their ability to disrupt opponents and finish defensive possessions strong. Their defensive rating is fourth in the league, a testament to their ability to lock in on that end of the floor. What's even more impressive is how well they've defended in transition, allowing the second fewest opponent points off fast breaks. Their hustle is evident in stats like deflections, where they rank second, and screen assists, where they're also second. It's clear this team doesn't just rely on talent. They put in the effort to make things happen. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Golden State. When you dive into the advanced stats, the Warriors' greatness becomes even more apparent. They're third in overall plus-minus, which shows how much better they are than their opponents when they're on the floor. Their offensive rating is fifth, and their net rating, which combines offense and defense, is third. These metrics highlight just how balanced they are on both ends of the court. Their effective field goal percentage is fifth, and their true shooting percentage is 10th, which speaks to their efficiency. They're also fifth in pace, playing fast and forcing opponents to keep up. Additionally, they rank second in average speed and miles run per game, which shows just how hard they're working. One of the most impressive aspects of this Warriors team is their ability to capitalize on mistakes. They lead the league in points off turnovers, which is a huge part of their success. Creating turnovers and turning them into easy points has been a game changer. They're also 10th in second chance points and 4th in fast break points, showing they know how to take advantage of extra opportunities. Defensively, they're making it tough for opponents to score in transition, allowing the second fewest points off fast breaks. Their ability to turn defense into offense is a major strength. It's also worth noting how active this team is across the board. These little things might not always show up in highlight reels, but they're crucial to winning games. Despite some areas that need improvement, like free throw shooting, this Warriors team is playing some of the best basketball in the league right now. They're balanced, disciplined, and explosive, with the stats to back it up. Watching them play this season has been a thrill because they're not just winning, they're doing it in style. Their combination of offensive firepower, Defensive tenacity and hustle is what makes them such a force. If they can clean up their issues at the free throw line, the sky's the limit for this group. For now, though, they're giving fans plenty to cheer about and leaving their opponents scrambling to keep up. So now that we know all the stats behind this year's Warriors team, though, I want to look at all the championship teams and how they looked through their first 14 games of the season. We'll start with a decade ago almost. The 2015 Golden State Warriors, through their first 14 games, were a powerhouse. No doubt about it. They started the season with a stellar 12-2 record, which is just a touch better than this year's 11-3 start. That team had momentum, energy, and all the confidence in the world. But what's interesting is how differently they got the job done compared to the current squad. Offensively, the 2015 team was averaging 107.4 points per game, which is a solid number, but it's 12 fewer than the 119.6 points this year's team is putting up. That's a massive difference. The game has definitely changed over the years, and you can see it in how this year's Warriors play at a faster pace and rack up points like it's nothing. In terms of ball movement, the 2015 team was also exceptional. They averaged 25 assists per game, which is fantastic, but it's 5 fewer than what this year's team is dishing out. The current Warriors are leading the league in assists, showing just how focused they are on sharing the ball and finding the best shot. It's beautiful basketball to watch. Now let's talk efficiency. The 2015 Warriors were all about making their shots count. They had the highest field goal percentage in the league, which speaks volumes about how well they executed their offense. Their three-point shooting was just as impressive, ranking 4th overall. Compared to this year, where they're 3rd in three-point percentage, it's clear the Warriors have maintained their reputation as one of the league's best shooting teams. Rebounding was solid for the 2015 squad too. They ranked 6th in rebounds, which is respectable, but this year's team has taken it to another level. They're currently 2nd in overall rebounding, dominating both offensively and defensively on the glass. That improvement has been a game changer, giving the current Warriors more second chance opportunities and limiting their opponents' chances. In terms of overall impact, both teams are incredibly strong. The 2015 team was 3rd in plus minus, which is exactly where this year's team stands as well. That consistency in outscoring opponents speaks to how well-rounded both squads are. However, this year's team has the edge in versatility and depth, especially with how many areas they rank near the top of the league. When it comes to win percentage, the 2015 Warriors were 3rd, trailing the Grizzlies and Raptors. This year's team is also 3rd, but behind the Celtics and Cavaliers. It's fascinating to see how both teams stack up in terms of results while achieving those results in slightly different ways. The comparison highlights how the Warriors' style has evolved over the years. The 2015 team relied on precision, discipline, and elite shooting efficiency. They were methodical and effective, making the most of every possession. This year's squad, on the other hand, is all about pace, power, and relentless pressure. They're scoring more, rebounding better, and putting up higher assist numbers, showing just how dynamic and multidimensional they've become. It's fun to look back at the 2015 Warriors and appreciate how they laid the foundation for everything this team is now. Both teams are elite, no question about it, but the way they dominate reflects the growth of the game and the franchise as a whole. Watching the Warriors evolve over the years has been nothing short of incredible. Now we can move on to the KD teams though. 2017. The 2017 Golden State Warriors were unstoppable through their first 14 games, starting the season with a 12-2 record. That's just a tiny bit better than this year's 11-3 record, but both teams came out blazing. The dominance of that 2017 team, though, was something special, and comparing them to this year's Warriors shows just how far the franchise has evolved. Offensively, the 2017 squad was a juggernaut. They led the league in points per game, putting up 117 on average. That's still slightly below this year's team, who are scoring an insane 119.6 points per game. It's wild to see that the current team is outscoring a team that had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson all in their primes. In terms of efficiency, the 2017 Warriors were in a league of their own. They had the highest field goal percentage in the NBA, showing just how deadly they were at getting high-quality shots. Their three-point shooting was also elite, ranking 6th overall. This year's team is 3rd in three-point percentage, so while both squads are lethal from beyond the arc, the current group has the slight edge there. Free throw shooting was another strong suit for the 2017 team. They were 4th in the league in free throw percentage, which is a significant difference from this year's team. Right now, The Warriors are dead last in free throw percentage, and that's with Steph Curry hitting 94%. The rest of the team has struggled, which is one area where the 2017 group clearly stands out. Rebounding, though, tells a different story. The 2017 team ranked 15th in rebounds per game, which was solid but not spectacular. This year's Warriors are dominating the glass, ranking 2nd overall. That's been a huge boost for this season's team, giving them more opportunities on both ends of the court. One thing both teams have in common is their elite playmaking. The 2017 Warriors led the league in assists, and they weren't just leading, they were doing it by a wide margin. That kind of ball movement is what made them so fun to watch. This year's team, they're number 1 in assists again, showing that the Warriors' culture of unselfish basketball hasn't gone anywhere. Plus minus is another area where both teams shine. The 2017 Warriors were 2nd in the league, showcasing their ability to outscore opponents consistently. This year's team is 3rd in that category, right behind. It's a testament to how dominant both squads have been, even if they achieve it in slightly different ways. The 2017 team's style of play was defined by precision, efficiency, and overwhelming firepower. They had superstar talent and played like a well-oiled machine. This year's team, on the other hand, relies more on pace, hustle, and versatility. They're running teams off the floor and grabbing every rebound in sight, which has made them just as dangerous. Comparing these two versions of the Warriors is fascinating because it shows how the team's identity has evolved. The 2017 squad was built around near-perfect execution and the sheer brilliance of their stars. This year's team has embraced a grittier, faster approach, but the results are just as impressive. Watching how the Warriors continue to adapt and thrive is a reminder of why they've been at the top of the league for so long. And basically, the same stuff can be said about the next year's team. 2018. The 2018 Golden State Warriors, through their first 13 games, were an absolute powerhouse. With a 11-3 record, they had the 2nd best start in the league, trailing only Boston, the same record as this year's team. Offensively, the 2018 Warriors were completely unstoppable. They led the entire league in points per game, scoring at an absurd rate. This year's Warriors are putting up a massive 119.6 points per game, which is slightly higher, but the context matters. The 2018 Warriors didn't just score, they did it with unmatched efficiency. They were 1st in field goal percentage, 1st in three-point percentage, and 2nd in free throw percentage. That kind of shooting accuracy was almost unfair. In comparison, this year's Warriors are also elite shooters, ranking 3rd in three-point percentage and putting up great numbers from the field overall. However, they've struggled with free throws, sitting dead last in the league. It's hard to overlook how much of a gap there is in that area. In 2018, free throws were a reliable weapon for the Warriors. For this year's team, they've been a liability outside of Steph Curry's brilliance at the line. Playmaking has always been a cornerstone of the Warriors' success, and in 2018, they were in a league of their own. They led the NBA in assists, continuing their tradition of unselfish, team-oriented basketball. This year's Warriors are also 1st in assists, keeping that legacy alive. It's clear the culture of ball movement has carried through, and it's one of the most exciting parts of watching this team play. Defensively, the 2018 Warriors weren't just good, they were dominant. They led the league in blocks per game, showcasing their ability to protect the rim. This year's team ranks 7th in blocks, which is solid, but it's not quite at the same level. However, this year's Warriors are better at rebounding, particularly on the defensive end, where they rank 2nd in the league. That's one area where the current squad has an edge over their 2018 counterparts. When it comes to plus minus, the 2018 Warriors were 1st in the NBA. That stat speaks volumes about how dominant they were on both ends of the floor. This year's Warriors are 3rd in plus minus, which is still impressive, but it shows just how overwhelming the 2018 team was. They didn't just beat teams, they crushed them. The 2018 Warriors were arguably the best team ever assembled. They had peak Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and they were playing with incredible chemistry. Comparing them to this year's team is tough because they set such a high standard. However, this year's Warriors have found their own identity. They're faster, grittier, and leaning more on their depth and hustle than pure star power. Both versions of the Warriors are amazing in their own ways. The 2018 team was all about perfection, elite scoring, precision shooting, and airtight defense. This year's team is finding success with pace, rebounding, and resilience. It's been fun watching how this franchise evolves while staying at the top of the league. But the last championship team, in my opinion, is the most similar team to this year's. Through the first 14 games of the 2022 season, the Golden State Warriors were firing on all cylinders. Their 12-2 record was the best in the entire NBA, and it wasn't just about winning games. It was the way they were doing it. They dominated in nearly every major statistical category, which makes comparing them to this year's team really interesting. First off, let's talk about their offense. The 2022 Warriors led the league in field goal percentage. They weren't just making shots. They were making the right shots and at an incredibly efficient rate. This year's Warriors are solid in that department, but sit 10th overall in field goal percentage. That's a significant drop-off compared to the sharpshooting precision of the 2022 squad. When it came to three-point shooting, the 2022 team wasn't quite at the top, ranking 8th in the league. They had their moments, and of course, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson did their thing. But this year's team is ranked 3rd in three-point percentage, showing a much more consistent touch from deep. It's a big improvement and one of the most exciting things to watch this season. Now, let's move to rebounding. The 2022 Warriors were an absolute force on the boards, leading the entire NBA in rebound. That's both offensive and defensive rebounds, which speaks volumes about their effort and presence inside. This year's Warriors are no slouches either. They're 2nd in overall rebounding. It's a slight drop, but still a key strength for this current team. Assists were another area where the 2022 Warriors excelled. They ranked 1st in the league, and it wasn't even close. Ball movement has always been a hallmark of this team, and in 2022, they took it to another level. This year, they're still 1st in assists, which shows that their unselfish play style hasn't gone anywhere. Watching them whip the ball around the court is as fun as ever. Defensively, the 2022 Warriors were just as dominant. They ranked 2nd in steals, which shows how disruptive they were on that end of the floor. They had a knack for getting into passing lanes and turning defense into offense. This year's team is 3rd in steals, so they're keeping up that intensity, but they're just a hair behind the 2022 squad in terms of execution. The 2022 team also had the best plus-minus in the league. That stat is one of my favorites because it shows how much a team outperformed their opponents when they were on the court. This year's Warriors are 3rd in plus-minus, which is impressive, but again highlights how untouchable the 2022 team was. One big difference between the two teams is how they approach the game. The 2022 Warriors were a juggernaut, crushing opponents with efficiency, ball movement, and relentless defense. They didn't just beat teams, they overwhelmed them. This year's Warriors are still elite, but they've had to rely more on grit and effort, especially with their free throw struggles and slightly slower start in some areas. Both teams share a lot of similarities, especially when it comes to their unselfish style and emphasis on teamwork. But there's something special about looking back at 2022. That team set the bar incredibly high, and while this year's squad is carving out its own identity, it's fascinating to see how the franchise continues to evolve while staying competitive at the highest level. So really overall, it's tough company to be a part of when you talk about those teams, but this year's Warriors are right there with them. But there's one guy who stuck through it all, and that's Steph Curry, and it's really insane how amazing he's been this year. Steph Curry's performance this season has been absolutely phenomenal. He's breaking records left and right, and it feels like every game he's finding a way to remind everyone why he's one of the greatest players in NBA history. Let's dive into just how impressive he's been so far. First, let's talk about his scoring. Curry's averaging 27.2 points per game this month. That puts him 10th in the league, which is remarkable given his age. And it's not just about the points. He's doing it with insane efficiency. His shooting splits this season are 51% from the field, 45% from three, and 91% from the free throw line. Those numbers are up from his already legendary career averages of 47%, 42%, and 91%, respectively. He's currently on pace to be the oldest player in NBA history to average 20 or more points per game on 50-40-90 shooting for a single month. That level of precision is simply unmatched. Now, Curry's dominance from beyond the arc is something that never gets old. He recently hit 4,400 career three-pointers, combining regular season and playoffs. To put that into perspective, the next closest player doesn't even have 3,400. That's over 1,000 more. Even James Harden, who just moved into second place for all-time three-pointers, made with 2,974, is still 800 behind Curry. The gap is massive, and it shows just how far ahead Curry is when it comes to redefining the three-point game. What's even crazier is that Curry holds the record for the most 30-point games with fewer than 5 free throw attempts. He's done it an incredible 111 times. The next closest, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 93 and LeBron James with 74. That kind of scoring without relying heavily on free throws is practically unheard of. It's a testament to how efficient and versatile he is as a scorer. Curry's not just about putting up points though. He's impacting the game in so many other ways. He's averaging 6.6 assists and 4.4 rebounds per game this month. His court vision and ability to create opportunities for his teammates are as sharp as ever. And defensively, he's contributing in ways that often go under the radar. For example, he's had 99 career games with at least 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 three-pointers. That level of all-around production is elite. Here's another wild stat. Curry is the oldest point guard in NBA history to have back-to-back 30-point games. He's also one of only 3 players in NBA history aged 36 or older to record consecutive 35-point games. The other 2, LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Anytime you're in a conversation with those 2 names, you're doing something extraordinary. Curry's impact goes beyond the traditional stat sheet too. He's played the 6th most games in NBA history, with 20 or more points in under 30 minutes. That means he's so effective that he often doesn't even need a full game to leave his mark. And when he's on the floor, the Warriors thrive. He leads the league in games this season with a plus-minus of +20 or more. That's not just about scoring. It's about how much better his team plays when he's out there orchestrating the offense. And let's not forget his efficiency in high-pressure moments. Curry's shooting splits this month: 51% from the field, 45% from 3, and 91% from the line are the definition of clutch. It's no wonder he's been able to put up such consistent numbers despite the defensive attention he draws every single night. One of my favorite things about Curry is how he continues to evolve. Even at 36 years old, he's finding ways to improve and set new standards. Whether it's breaking records for consecutive games, putting up ridiculous shooting percentages, or leading the league in key metrics, Curry shows no signs of slowing down. Watching him play this season has been an absolute treat, and it's clear he's still at the top of his game. The way Curry combines skill, efficiency, and leadership is truly one of a kind. This season, he's not just adding to his legacy, he's solidifying his place as one of the most impactful players in NBA history. Every game feels like a masterclass, and the numbers back it up. It's been incredible to witness, and there's no doubt he's still rewriting the record books every step of the way. But it's really been his shooting that's been so amazing. Check this out. This is from Basketball Reference. Shout out to them. These stats just show how dominant he's been. First off, let's talk about his off-ball gravity. This measures how much attention defenders give him when he doesn't even have the ball. Curry has a value of 1.79 in this category, ranking in the 99th percentile. That's right, nobody in the league causes as much chaos without the ball as Curry. He's constantly moving, setting up screens, and finding space, forcing defenders to stick to him like glue. It's incredible how his presence alone shifts the entire defense. Next up is his overall gravity, which combines his off-ball and on-ball impact. Curry scores 1.7, placing him in the 97th percentile. This just shows how much he dictates the game, whether he's handling the ball or running off screens. His ability to draw defenders opens up opportunities for his teammates, making the Warriors' offense one of the most dangerous in the league. Now let's move to his shooting talent. Curry's three-point shooting talent has a value of 2.75, which is in the 99th percentile. That's basically perfect. It's no surprise though, considering how Curry consistently hits shots that seem impossible. Step-back threes, deep bombs, quick releases, you name it, he's mastered it. Watching him shoot is like watching a masterpiece come to life. His ability to create his own three-point shots is another area where Curry shines. With a score of 1.94 in three-point shot creation, he's in the 97th percentile. This means Curry doesn't just rely on teammates to set him up, he can break down defenders, create space, and launch from anywhere. It's amazing how he combines skill, quickness, and creativity to get his shots off. Then there's his three-point shot-making efficiency, which sits at 1.45, again in the 97th percentile. This tells us that Curry isn't just taking tough shots, he's making them at an elite rate. Whether it's a contested three or a quick pull-up in transition, Curry makes it look effortless. His efficiency is what sets him apart from other great shooters. Now there is one stat where Curry is surprisingly below average: three-point shot quality. His value here is negative 0.75, ranking in the 10th percentile. But this isn't a knock on Curry. It's actually a testament to his greatness. The low shot quality means he's taking incredibly difficult shots, often with defenders draped all over him, and yet he still makes them at an elite level. It's unreal how Curry turns bad shots into buckets. One of Curry's most underrated skills is his pull-up shooting, and his stats back it up. His three-point pull-up talent has a value of 2.46, which is in the 99th percentile. Think about that. He's the best in the league at hitting pull-up threes. Whether it's off a screen or a quick dribble, Curry's pull-up game is a weapon that keeps defenses on their heels. Let's talk percentages now. Curry is shooting 43.24% from three this season, which ranks in the 83rd percentile. For most players, this would be career best territory, but for Curry, it's just another day at the off. What makes it even more impressive is the sheer volume and difficulty of his attempts. He's not just hitting wide open looks, he's making threes that other players wouldn't even attempt. Another area where Curry stands out is catch and shoot efficiency. His catch and shoot three-point shot making efficiency is 0.82, which puts him in the 90th percentile. This means that even when Curry isn't creating his own shot, he's deadly as a spot-up shooter. Defenders can't give him even an inch of space or it's game over. What's truly remarkable about Curry's stats is how they reflect his complete dominance as a shooter. He's not just good at one thing, he excels in every aspect of perimeter shooting. Whether it's creating shots, making tough ones, or moving without the ball, Curry does it all at an elite level. Watching him play is like watching history in the making. Overall though, the Golden State Warriors have had an incredible season so far, and it would be so cool to see them win their 5th championship in the Curry era. I mean, Steph Curry has been absolutely phenomenal. His shooting numbers this year are just out of this world. He's hitting at insane percentages, making everything look easy. Every time he pulls up for a three, you just expect it to go in, and that's a crazy feeling. His shooting has been on another level, and you can see the impact it has on the team. Draymond Green has been another key player for them this season. He's been doing what Draymond does best, defending, playmaking, and keeping the energy high on both sides of the ball. There's no doubt that Draymond's presence is one of the reasons why the Warriors are looking so strong. He's had some amazing games, really controlling the pace and making all the little plays that matter. When Draymond's locked in, the Warriors are a completely different team. Buddy Hield has also been huge for the Warriors this season. His shooting has been such a welcome addition. His ability to space the floor and knock down threes at a high rate has opened up so many opportunities for the team. You can see how his shooting threat allows others, like Curry and Draymond, to do their thing even more. Hield has been giving them exactly what they need on the offensive end. Andrew Wiggins has really stepped up too. He's had some fantastic games and has been incredibly consistent. Wiggins brings so much to the table, whether it's his scoring, his defense, or his ability to contribute in so many ways. He's been playing with confidence and energy, and that's exactly what the Warriors need from him as they chase another title. And let's not forget about Kuminga. He's been so solid this season, showing growth in his game. He's been handling bigger responsibilities on both ends of the floor, and it's exciting to see his development. The Warriors have so many talented players, and Kuminga is definitely showing he's part of that future. The only real downside right now is that DeAnthony Melton is out for the season. That's a tough blow because Melton was adding great depth to the roster with his defense and shooting. His ability to lock down opponents and provide an additional spark off the bench was really valuable. Losing him hurts, but the Warriors have a deep roster and they'll find a way to adjust. But even with that setback, everything is still pointing to a really exciting stretch for the Warriors. The team is clicking on all cylinders right now, and if they keep playing the way they are, who knows? Winning a 5th championship in the Curry era would be the perfect way to cap off an incredible dynasty. With Curry continuing to defy age, Draymond leading the charge, and all these other guys stepping up, it's hard not to get excited about what this team can do. If they manage to bring home that 5th title, it'll be one for the books. Curry will solidify his place even more in history, and this era of Warriors basketball will go down as one of the greatest of all time. Fingers crossed they stay healthy, keep playing their brand of ball, and finish strong. It's been a wild ride so far, and there's so much more to come.